Welcome back to our video tutorial series for CPP Robotics Zoombot project. In this third video, we're going to be putting all of the previously learned concepts to use, building a circuit using the parts in your Zoombot kit. Since we just learned about circuit diagrams, for this video we're going to go ahead and make one of those first. Doing so is going to make sure that we don't damage any of the parts actually in your kit. Let's go ahead and make a circuit that powers on some different colored LEDs using some buttons and switches. To create our circuit diagram, the part symbols we'll need are 3 switches, 4 LEDs, and 2 resistors. Realistically, there will be only 1 switch and 2 buttons in the actual circuit. However, switches and buttons do basically the same thing, allow our block current flow, so they're represented by the same symbol. Additionally, we'll be replacing the previously seen voltage symbol with this one, a bar with a voltage value above it and a line coming off the bottom. We'll use these symbols when using something like the 5-volt source on the Arduino, since the voltage and ground are actually separated there. Now that we have the pieces to this puzzle, we can put it all together and create our circuit diagram. Let's go in the order of current flow through our system, starting with the voltage source. As we can see here, it's a 5-volt source, so we can expect to have a total of 5 volts to work with throughout the circuit. Next, let's place our first switch. This will be what controls the entire circuit turning on or off. In the real circuit, this will be the actual flip switch we use. We'll connect one end to the 5-volt voltage source. Now we will be placing our other 2 switches in 2 different columns like this. In the real circuit, these will be our 2 buttons. We'll connect a wire from the previous switch into both of the inputs of these 2 switches, forming a node here in the middle. We'll slowly be creating 2 different circuit lines. Now let's place our resistors, one in each of the vertical lines, and connect them to the previous switches. These will be what limit the current running through your LEDs. And eventually, we'll need to calculate the resistance value, but we're going to wait until the circuit's finished to actually calculate that. We can now place our LEDs, 2 of them, on each of the circuit lines. Since we only have a total of 5 volts in our circuit, we'll need to place our LEDs in parallel, side by side like this. That'll save on the total voltage we need to actually end up powering the LEDs. Both of the LED inputs connect to the resistors above them. We've finished our 2 circuit lines, so let's go ahead and connect them together in the middle. Lastly, we go ahead and connect the end of our circuit into our ground point and finish the circuit. At this point, the circuit voltage will be 0 volts. While we place the resistors into our circuit, we still need to find out what their actual resistance values are in order to truly complete the circuit. We can call on our previous lessons about Ohm's law and KVL to find these values. So first, let's start with considering KVL. We start by having our 5 volts going in at the top. No voltage being lost in these switches, so we can ignore those. We'll assume that our LEDs need 3 volts in order to successfully power on. So if we have 5 volts going into the circuit, and 3 volts being removed by the LEDs, then that means our resistors need to remove the remaining 2 volts. So that voltage should be 2. To find the resistance value, now we use Ohm's law. We have that 2 volts over the resistors, and let's say we only want 5 milliamps going through the resistors so the LEDs aren't too bright. We plug those values now into the Ohm's law equation. 2 volts is equal to 5 milliamps times the resistance. We rearrange that for R. Resistance is equal to 2 volts divided by 5 milliamps. We do the math and find that we'll need a 400 ohm resistor for each of these resistors. That concludes the first half of the process to building a mini robot with your Zoombot kit. In the next video, we're going to take that circuit diagram we just made and translate it into the actual parts, as well as look into some of the concepts for breadboard wiring. Once again, if you have any questions with the content of the video, feel free to reach out to us on Slack. You can post in the Zoombot Slack channel, you can message me, Gabriel Contreras, or you can message any of the officers or project leads involved with the Zoombot project.